Real quick, TJ, you said the story about Herschel Walker ripping John Lewis's story. My grandfather
Yeah.
actually knew John Lewis. What
Oh,
I'm thinking in my mind is like, yeah, he did some work with him, in the '60s and everything. It was,
oh,
but
cool.
but but the funny thing about that story is like, what would Herschel Walker have done to change that man from being in the Klan? Like Herschel Walker was a football player. Like, did he see him run a hot route
Player.
and just say, "Oh, I can't be in the Klan anymore, man. You see the excellence on the field there. I just can't do it
Oh,
anymore." Like, what would he
your
have
40
done?
time.
Yeah,
It
like I
changed my life.
can't. That's just a crazy story, man.
That's Herschel Walker was so fucking weird, man. Like, so Corey, I want to talk about this, but I didn't want to like it was an ancillary topic. But you mentioned black conservatives in general, and I were one for a long time. But it's it's funny looking at the black conservatives they put out there because they all have the look. You guys know the look I'm talking about. They all like it's the eyes, man. Like it's like the Get Out eyes. It's so creepy and weird. And like Candace Owens, like when she's like she seems soulless when she's talking and everything. And it's just like God. It's Alan Keyes, Ben
Yeah.
fucking Carson. Like you guys like you think of these guys as like they don't seem like they seem to be like homunculi of some sort, and it is really fucking weird. I don't know what's going on in there. Like I don't, and it really creeps me out. And the guy in Kentucky, like his whole platform was his whole platform, but his big issue was I will make abortion illegal from like the moment of conception. Like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I love how Republicans, you're right, Corey, they try to every year they say we're going to get the black vote this year, we're going to get the black vote this year, and Trump got like 8% of the black vote in 2016 and he got like 11% in 2020. Yeah. Look at that. And it's like, oh, so you went from 92% of black people rejecting you to 88% of black people rejecting you. Great job. It's like it's weird. I don't know what their fascination is, getting their asses kicked, and their message never changes. The message is always, well, Republicans free the slaves, right? It's like, all right, how's that working for you? Like, how is that message working for you? It's like they keep using it.
Oh yeah, TJ, that's perfectly fine. We just stonewalled you there. That was, but
there's a lot to say about black conservatives. You guys are holding back, but it's fine.
I was like, I've said my piece on this. I could talk about this all day. I don't want to take up too much time, but yeah, no, I agree, TJ. It's something weird. It's if anybody's ever seen the Boondocks, Uncle Ruckus. It's just like
Yes.
it's just like I don't get it, but I don't know.
They all have the same line. They say the same shit all the time. So it's just like eye roll, shrug shoulders, like don't even engage. It's like just don't engage. Just like, all right, cool, man. I gotta leave right now. That's it. That's all the conversations that I have with black conservatives. It's just like, you really believe this shit? Whatever, man. All right, I'm out.
I think that from conversation I've had, like a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, the Democrats suck. They're terrible for black people. And I'm like, yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean the other guys are better.
But no, the other thing.
You stopped the train of thought a little bit too early. It did not quite arrive at the station.
This isn't a line that's unique to black conservatives. Like a lot of conservatives in general say this, but they take that Malcolm X quote where he calls the white liberal, a fox, and you shouldn't trust him. Like, what the fuck did he say about white conservatives? Like what did he say about them? Like, was it better? It's like he said they were wolves. So like even if you want to take that, you got to take the entire statement. It's just like it's just so annoying. I don't understand it. They really lean into like because the EK you mentioned that the black community is conservative in a lot of ways, and I said for a long time that if the Republicans could just let go of the racism, they would get a ton of minority votes. A ton. Because as it stands, like this is like not an exaggeration, every minority group in the country votes majority Democrat. Every single one. Black people, Latino people, you mentioned Jewish people, Arab American people, Native American people, Asian people, every single one of them. And a lot of them have, like a lot of conservative values, but Republicans need the racism so badly. And the party, I think Trump's voting base was 84% white both times that he won. And it's like, they're not letting go of that, and they're just squandering votes that they could have.
It is my girlfriend. She's Latina. Her whole family's immigrants, and like they are the most racist fucking people I know. Like you mentioned Cubans around them. Oh my God, the shit that comes out of their mouths, and they're very socially conservative, like very like traditional values-esque people. And I think you're totally right. If they could just like tone down the racism, they'd have them hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
I remember the people that were like, I was in like high school and some girl was like, in San Francisco, AIDS is airborne. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit, yo? What? Still voted Democratically.
It's so weird that so like race isn't real. It's not a real thing, this culturally contrived. And I didn't have like that thought of it, but I had the the precursors of it when I was like in high school and college, and that race isn't about color. Like people in Sri Lanka have the exact same skin color I have. We're different races, and because of like location you are and facial features and hair, it's all fucking nonsense. But I remember thinking it's like people come in like 4 colors. Like 4, maybe 5 colors, and that but we have dozens of races, and it's always John, when you mentioned that your girlfriend, where'd you say she was from?
She's from Honduras.
Honduras, yeah, and so people from Honduras were like, man, what about those Cubans? It's funny to me when like groups that we lump together are racist against people within that group. I was like, I remember watching like Goodfellas, and they're talking about like, I'm Italian and I can't date her because she's Irish. Like, what is going on? What are we doing? It doesn't make any sense. But it's just funny. It's not funny. It's actually just human being love separating themselves into a category. Ben Franklin wrote like this treatise. It's something he was writing about America, how it should be, and he thought America should be, majority white. But it's really funny to see who he considered to be white. He didn't consider Swedish people white. He didn't consider Irish people white. Only certain types of German people were white. It's fairy tales, and people literally live and die by this stuff and have strong emotions over just absolute nonsense. And it is funny. It's sad, but it is funny.
That's very analogous to the Republican Party, because whiteness is more about subtracting what is not white.
Yes.
Than it is about, and it's basically the same thing with the Republican Party. Like, if it was just about the politics, then both parties, would be internally dealing with, people that are gay, people that are trans or whatever.
Yeah.
Parties would be dealing with, the different racial mix-up. Perhaps one party, would have a bigger like portion of, a different set of marginalized people, but there would be like, a more proportionate set of different marginalized groups in every party. But the Republican Party is so much about cutting out what they do not like. It's more about the absence of who is in the Republican Party. And that is another thing that's killing them. They're not going to get any percentage of any, racial, non-white racial group or any percentage of any marginalized people because of them, because of it being about the absence of their group in that party, which is what has made it strong for the past 30, 40-ish years. Is so like it needs to change, like, which would be fair. Both parties should be talking about these issues that are that they're using basically as a wedge to like try to get them into these offices against the Democratic Party, which has to accept everything and try to do this whole like game of musical chairs behind what issues they're going to support and who they're going to let out to dry, and hope that doesn't come back to bite them. In the end, it's like we need a socialist party in the United States, at least, that would push the Democrats to like actually embrace the ideas that they should have been embracing, shit that like fuck that dude, FDR was talking about in like the second Bill of Rights, where where like he was like legit saying, hey, we need the right to healthcare, right to fair wages, a right to housing, all that stuff. That was the Democratic Party. And like, where like if a Democrat said that now, it's like, oh, you social, we need something to push that shit, but we don't have that.
It's also why it's so funny to me what you just mentioned, EK, that Republicans always talk about how, well, the Democrats, or leftists or liberals, they're just focused on identity politics. And like my response is all politics is identity politics, all of it. But it's really rich coming from Republicans who have a party that is wildly disproportionately one type of person. And so everything that they do is in service of white conservative Christians. It's why Republicans can't win in cities, because cities are the primary economic engines of the states, of the region. And so people from all around the country, all around the world of different backgrounds are going to be gravitated towards cities. And Republicans only adhere to the desires of one type of person. It's why they can't win in the cities. And EK, I wanted to address this, is that when you talked about the diversity of the Democratic Party, and believe me, the Democratic Party has legion of problems. I'm aware of this, but it is uncanny to see the demographic makeup of the Democratic Party. And it's like the country is like 60% white, Democratic Party 60% white. It's like it's like 11 or 12% black, but the Democratic Party is like 13, 14% black. About 15% Latino, 15% Latino. Like it shocked me how close the Democratic Party was, to the rest of the nation. So the question to Republicans is, why is that the case? Like why? Like why is it that the Democratic Party looks exactly like the makeup of the United States, and the Republican Party almost completely white? Like, what does that tell you? If you don't understand that they're crafting their party to be identity politics to one identity, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're willfully denying reality at that point.